I pledged to play Monster Hunter 4U to slay every Fatalis in the game, and I'm happy to report one has been slain. It took many eggs, but we cracked this one down. Welcome, hunters, and also members of the classy crew, to another journal in Monster Hunter 4U where I continue to progress to seek out the Fatalises and get hurt a lot along the way. It's been almost 3 months since my last update. I've been busy playing in Monster Hunter 1, finishing Quest and Rise, doing all sorts of other things in other games. But now we are back. We are focused. The clock is ticking. Nintendo's shutting off the servers because while my pledge doesn't say I need to... how I slay the Fatalises, I want to have the option of first trying to solo, but if I can't solo them, I want the option to bring friends to defeat these Fatalises, and that option will no longer be available to me after the server shutdown. This journal is covering the last 3 streams, which have been super productive. There's been a lot of things going on. I've finished high rank. I've killed a Fatalis. I've killed a lot of other things. I'm losing my voice, but so there's kind of 3 paths that are open to me at this point in 4U. I can continue the story of Dundorma, which is building the defenses to protect that city, and that is the storyline of high rank, so that is happening. I've also seen that there's a bunch of side quests that have unlocked, like multi-chain side quests for each village, which I've kind of been dabbling in them, not realizing that, wait a minute, these are like 4 compartmentalized stories that act as side quests after you're done all of the low rank and high rank story. So that is path number 2, which I've been dabbling in quite a bit. And then there's path number 3, which is the guild hall, where I am now hunter rank 7. I have a bunch of like little low rank stuff to do in there, and I have unlocked the elder dragons in that hall to do in multiplayer. So those are the 3 paths. I've tackled a bit of all of them throughout the last 3 streams, starting with the side quests, because I saw those quests showing up as low rank quests. I'm like, well, I gotta clear those. But I realized very quickly that, ooh, these quests pack a punch. Specifically, the Hearth quest line, I made it all the way to the end, which unlocks a Teostra of all things. I'm like, I've heard some horror stories of Teostra, and my Gore Magala armor is really weak to fire, so that was unattractive. I've made it through the Valhabar storyline. Oh, by the way, the Hearth storyline is the chief, I think, broke his hammer that his wife made for him or something, and now we got the daughter wants to build a hammer for the father, which is a very touching story, and it really hammers home the relationship between a father and a daughter. So Valhabar is all about Aiden trying to woo the Guildmarm and falling in love with her by showing his affection through hunting things that are outside of his league. Let's be honest here, she is outside of his league. Sunsnagile is the cowardly cat which keeps telling you, fight these things for me and I'll watch you, and it all goes back to like the father of the cat got murdered or something by this monster, which is the Acantor, which is a monster I had never seen before. And then Cathar is doing something there. I just started that quest line, so I don't know what it's going to lead to. I'm assuming it's going to lead to Kushala, probably, like it's another Elder Dragon. So I'm working my way through that one. So the first thing I decided to do was, let's see what an Acantor is about. I was very curious, not realizing this thing is boss grade level hard. First of all, I got introduced to a new level, which is like a fire arena, which at first I liked, but now I'm definitely not liking it because I've been in there a few times, including with my Crimson Fatalis, right? But Acantor is big, he hits hard, and I noticed he has a lot of movesets like a Tigrex, so he's basically a really buff Tigrex. Design-wise, he's really cool looking. I love the massive tusks he has. I love the spikiness. I love that he's a tank. I love the tail that almost looks like he has a hand at the tip of it. It reminds me a lot of the final boss. The tail reminds me of the final boss of Sunbreak. But unfortunately, your boy Hey Jay here was not good enough to take on an Acantor, and I failed this quest, and he remains undefeated to this day. This boy just hit me way too hard, and I was not ready in more ways than one. Mentally, I was not prepared for such a massive fight, so I gotta suit up, get back in there, and have my revenge on Acantor. He's just really tanky and hits really hard. And I think my defense was maybe too low on my armor. I got to go back in, learn his moves, learn how to dodge, get better with my charge blade. What happened? After that, I realized a lot of my enemies ahead of me on the high rank quest line, there is a frenzied Brachydios waiting for me, which I associate to fire. Everything is associated to fire at this point, even though I know that they're not fire element monsters except Teostra. So I'm like, I need to protect myself from fire. So I decided to just craft some new armor. What can I make that protects me from fire? Because I think with my Gore Magala armor set, I have like minus 25 resistance to fire, which is terrible. And so I realized I had enough materials from a Black Gravios to make almost an entire set. And by almost, I mean everything but the helm. But I was able to put on a Gravios helm to kind of make it look okay. But chat was like, no, it all has to match. Go fight a Black Gravios. It'll take you 5 minutes and then you get the helm and it matches and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, nah, you know what? This works. Not everything needs to be perfect, chat. Chill. I swear. Chat has a perfectionism complex. I have a new armor set. It's ugly, it's gross, but it's effective because it gives me fire resist. It also gives me defense up, and I put in some decorations in there, so it's a large defense up, so I'm getting more tanky. And I got a bonus skill of guard up, which I think lets me guard more powerful attacks. So I'm actually starting to use, or trying to use, my charge blade in more defensive maneuvers sometimes. I'm definitely not efficient with it. I'm not where I want to be with it yet, but I am starting to get away from the mindset of everything can be dodged to maybe I should block this to maintain my position. And I think that is very important from what I understand what I think it's called the guard point is. Guard point is all about blocking and I think going into a counter strike from what I understand. So actually getting into the mindset of hold your ground is very important to guard block. That's my reasoning behind it. So Teostra for the Hearth quest line. Teostra was as hard as I thought he would be. He moves so fast. He's so aggressive. At first I got caught by the Blast Blight. I didn't realize that like the little cloud of stuff gives you Blast Blight. So I had to be a little bit more careful after that just to like shake it off whenever I was blast blighted. Otherwise, he was doing massive damage to me. He was doing a lot of twerk in this Teostra. I know it's a move in the other games, but here it was more noticeable that I just didn't want to be behind him because he just started twerking and shaking that tail and hitting me. Otherwise, it was just a game of like getting out of the way constantly because he's just comboing and just like in your face. Otherwise, he was more manageable than I was led to believe. Like there was a lot of horror stories in the Discord about how hard Teostra was. And to be fair, he's hard, but manageable hard. And I think with my new armor set, my defense skills gave me a little bit more cushion to be able to make a few more mistakes and maneuver around Teostra. Overall, love the music as always. He's a good fight, but he is intense. That said, I wouldn't mind fighting him again. Like there are some monsters where I fight them and I'm like, you know, Kezu, any Kezu, I don't want to fight that. But a Teostra, I will fight a Teostra again. Then going to the Valhalbar quest line, we've got the Rajang. Rajang just sucks all the time. I don't know what you want me to say about Rajang. They made him worse in this game, although I think this is his debut. He charges instantly. So I can recall in the other games, whenever he would charge up, he would like roar and then he'd get like the golden fur. But in this one, he's just like, whoop, I'm now gold. And it's just like, what? You can just turn it on like that? So Rajang, again, was a lot of just get out of the way. He's super aggressive. And it helps that I fought him in the other games. So he was manageable. And again, I would rather fight Rajang than a Kezu. Any day, I would fight a Rajang over a Kezu. And then over on the Cathar quest line, I know this is so dumb. We're talking about Elder Dragons, and now I got to talk about a freaking Celtis. Because the start of the Cathar quest side quest line is capture a Celtis, not the queen, the little bug. And it is so difficult because he's weak, so you can't go too crazy on him or you're going to kill him. And then I struggled so much to capture him, not realizing this thing flies and I don't actually know how to knock it down on the ground. And so I beat it really quickly and he went to rest, and this was my chance to capture him, and it could have been done like that. I could have walked away like a pro. But the problem is I'm not a pro and I wasn't thinking about it this way. So he's on the wall and I didn't remember that when you hit him on the wall when he's sleeping, he'll fall down. So what I should have done is put a trap under him, climb the wall, bonk him into the trap, tranquilizer, we're going back to camp, we're having some steak. But instead I bonked him, he fell down, and then I had a trap like a few feet away and he was flying over the trap, and I'm like, oh, I see the hard part. How do we get it down? So I was trying to like get him to fall down, and I was trying to boop him, but I wasn't trying to boop him too hard because he was gonna die. And I was just like, oh, what else can I do? Maybe I can flash him. But then I'm like, oh, the timing to flash a bug to fall into a trap is so precise. And then I tried to put another trap, but then because I put the first trap, I couldn't put the second trap. And then he flew away to the webbing where I couldn't put traps on the webbing. And it was just a frustrating situation of 5 minutes of me trying to figure out how am I going to capture this stupid flying bug that is so weak. If I'm going to hit it anymore, it's going to die on me and I will fail. So screw the pacifist route. Everything should just get slain. But anyways, I did do it. After I realized that, oh, I'm doing side quests. No, I want to finish the high rank storyline. And then we do side quests. Like, that feels like a more natural order. So the next things that were up was a frenzied Brachydios. And I was shocked. I was watching my old journals and I was sharing how I was struggling in high rank. Everything was hitting me so hard. I think all I needed really was to get this new armor set, because everything else from this point onward in the story was really comfortable to fight. The Frenzy Brachydios felt so quick, and I'm also now using this new like Wyvern Stone power, which helps knock the frenzy out of monsters. But you guys know I've complained a lot about 4U's Brachydios being just hard and not a good matchup with Charge Blade. This specific fight, I felt in control, and I'm also maybe maneuvering a little bit better with my Charge Blade. I'm now trying to get the axe mode out more intentionally. I really need to learn how to do AEDs instead of SAEDs. That I have no idea what I'm doing wrong. And I'm blocking more, which is also helping. So my skill in Charge Blade is getting there, and I can feel the growth. And I'm like, oh, I remember doing this with Switch Axe, and I can't wait till it just clicks and I finally like unlock the upper tier of Charge Blade. Like, we often talk about leveling up as a hunter and being better hunter against the monsters and how this game levels up the player, but I don't know if we talk enough about just like, no matter how good you are with your main weapon and whatever you've been playing for thousands of hours, learning a new weapon and unlocking the abilities, like, you know what they are. And I know some of you learn a lot faster than I do. In fact, most of you do. But like, I'm so slow in my progress towards a weapon. I can feel the transformation take place, and it's so cool and it's so rewarding. And I just know that by the time I get to the end of G rank, I will be guard pointing. I will be. I just know it's going to happen, even though it's not happening right now. We'll get there. So the Frenzy Brachydios was a fun fight. That died. That unlocked the next fight, which was a Frenzied Devil Joe. I was like, oh my god, this is going to be so hard. Why are we starting right out the gate with a Frenzied Devil Joe? We can't just have Devil Joe. We got to have Frenzied. And once again, this proved to be such a good matchup. I don't know if it's because I know Devil Joe. It was a nice, comfortable fight. It took me 14 minutes, which, you know, that's not a number to brag about, but like, to me, a hard fight is 20-25 minutes. So 14 minutes for my first encounter with him, where I'm at with my level of skill, that is a very average number. And you know, average is good. We don't talk here at this channel about sub 5 minute hunts, especially not when we're soloing. Some differences I've noticed with this Devil Joe is his, especially since I've just fought him in 3U, his Dragon Breath seems a lot shorter in this game, which I'm like, okay, well, that's more manageable. And my strategy was just stay between the legs, stay under him, whoosh, whoosh. Everywhere I'm hitting some kind of pickle. Either way, he's dead. So once that was done, it really unlocked the end game of the high rank storyline in Dundorma. We got introduced to his immenseness, and I love this. I'm like, okay, what is this? Like, the fact that they're all calling him his immenseness, I'm like, is this gonna be a big dude or something? Cut scene, big dude. I was like, oh wow, they actually come in this size. I've never seen, I think it's like a Wyverian. I've never seen such a big Wyverian. And so this has just like opened my mind to what's possible in the Monster Hunter lore. I was like, I always thought they were like the little short dudes. I know that there's the like normal human form Wyverians, and I just love how they introduced them, and just having that like cutscene and that story building. This game is really, it's just really good. It's very fun. We all know this. But anyways, he explains that yes, the defenses are almost done, that the Kushala, which is a rusted Kushala, is attacking the town. However, now we have discovered an apex monster called Apex Seregios. This is my first apex in this game. I was like, oh, there are apexes here. Okay. I've seen this before. I know what it's about. And we got a bunch of cool cutscenes showing like the town evacuating. It just creates so much more emotion in this game. The cutscenes are so cool. Like, if this was all HD, it would have been so much better. And I think we do get some HD if like you do Citra stuff, but I don't. Before I talk about Seregios, I know that I somehow missed talking about my first Seregios in my last journals, and I don't know how I missed out on that. This is going back like potentially 6 streams when I actually fought my first Seregios. And so I fought him in Sunbreak. That is how I built an identity for him. So going into this game and fighting him here, I was surprised at how much less threatening his kicks were. Like, it was a lot easier to dodge his kicks. He didn't kick as much. The scales is really what caught me off guard, and so I don't think there's any other monster that bleeds up to this point in this game. And so I was bleeding a lot in this fight, and what I hate, and I don't remember this being a thing in Sunbreak, maybe I just didn't get hit as much. The scale hits you, so you go, and then the scale explodes in you, so you go, and it's such an annoying animation when you get that, because you're getting like flinched twice, and then the monster's coming at you, you're trying to move, and then you bleed out, and you gotta like stay stationary, eat some jerky, and he was so fast. Like, this was one of the fastest fights I had up to this point. So Seregios was just crazy fast for 4U mechanics. And again, my strategy was just, you gotta stay under him, you gotta like hit his legs. Oh, he's up in the air, he's probably gonna kick you, roll out of the way. And then sometimes he would even claw me, and I think it would inflict bleed because I would get the flinch thing going again. And man, I hated that thing so much. Luckily, though, he fatigues easily, or at one point he was just constantly fatiguing. At that point, I'm just like wailing on him, smashing axe mode, everything. And I was able to beat him as he was going off for a snack, because he's like, I'm getting hungry fighting this hunter. I'm like, no, you're not. And as he was about to snack on the herbivore, I killed him. So going to the Apex Seregios, same impression. And again, 3 months had gone by since I played 4U before I got into Apex Seregios. I completely forgot how to deal with bleed, because it wasn't in 3U, and I don't remember it being in Rise, or it wasn't meaningful in Rise. So when I got bled, I was like, oh no, what do I do? Do I just like crouch? I had no jerky. I didn't bring any items. So yeah, I had to like crouch and wait. My first impression of an Apex was, holy heck, these things are huge. And people were like, yeah, welcome to like what proper Apex are. I guess people were saying the Apexes in Rise were a little lackluster. All I gotta say is I was intimidated. This thing was massive. I could only see legs on camera. And yeah, big and painful because of the stupid bleed mechanic, which I had wiped out of my memory from my past Seregios fight. I swear we're getting close to Crimson Fatalis. This is a very meaty journal to get through because so eventful. So much stuff happened. So once that was done, we are now geared up for the final fight. I'm like, all right, let's do this. I'm ready to screw up because I know it's a siege fight. We've been building the defenses of the town for a while. And so I get into the level. There's Kushala in the middle of the arena. And then there's like all this fortification. There's a very cool like platform with 2 cannons, and you can load the cannons, and then it moves on a track. So you can go like a little bit to the left, or you can go to the right. You can shoot the cannon from wherever you want. Very cool mechanic. I was surprised at how effective the siege weapons were in this fight, because in my experience in other games, you have to fight the monster and lean on the siege weapons a little, like the Fatalis fight in World, but the siege weapons are not what's going to carry the fight for you. Like, you need to be able to show that you can hunt to some degree as well. Not in this fight. In this fight, it's just like, no, use all the siege weapons. I think I attacked Kushala maybe once or twice, but barely, because it got up so fast. And I realized I'll just stick to the weapons. Like, I don't really need to do anything, it seems, because the story and the narrative was like, go here, load the cannon here, the Dragonator's ready. And I got my Dragonator. I actually hit Kushala with the Dragonator. Everything was connecting. I'm like, oh my goodness, my timing's so good. And then there was the third one, the Demolisher, which is like this massive mega cannon. I was like, I can't wait to shoot that, but I'm so scared I'm gonna mess up. Luckily, the story beats really guide you, and they're like, you're gonna push this button when someone says something, and we're like, okay, when do I do it? And then someone like the game stops, and they're like, push the button, push that button right there, the button where you're looking at, push that one, not this one, that one. It really handholds you in a way that I appreciated, because I kept messing up so much in like World, Rise, Sunbreak. I kept pushing the thing at the wrong time. I didn't understand what was going. This one really like spelled it out for you. They're like, please, you make this epic, don't mess it up for us. So Kushala was slain. Everybody was happy. We rolled credits. We got some cute little caricatures. Town was saved. It felt good, but a little anticlimactic. For a final fight in high rank, it was maybe a little bit too much siege weapons for my taste. And it didn't, I didn't get a proof of a hero. I didn't get a tense moment. I was just basically pushing buttons and loading cannonballs. It doesn't quite give you that feeling of a hunt. And maybe that's why Apex Seregios was there, but even he didn't feel, he felt big, he felt intimidating. But again, it wasn't anything compared to the low rank village where you're fighting my goodness, I'm drawing a blank on Gormagala or Shigeru, the bigger one. Those were really epic fights, so I don't see how they went from that to an epic fight, but it doesn't feel epic to the hunter. So they lost the plot a little bit there by putting too much plot in it. After all of that was done, I unlocked the final egg quest, and I knew that this was the final egg quest that unlocks Fatalis, Crimson Fatalis. I'm like, okay, it's my first Fatalis. Let's do this. Let's go in. And I did not bring the right juice. I brought the juice that keeps you awake instead of the dash juice, which doesn't, drain your stamina, which is what I wanted. And I hauled the egg out, and I'm just, maybe I can sneak. Like, I saw that there was a Tigrex, but I'm like, maybe I can sneak. And I tried sneaking, it didn't work. Tigrex roared, I dropped the egg. Then a brute Tigrex showed up. It was late in the night, and I'm just like, oh my God, this just sucks so much. They're both roaring at me. They're both spinning. I just want to carry this egg. It's not a good time. And so I pretty much called it a night, which is what took us to the next journal. Look at that, flipping the page. Whenever we flip the page, it's a pretty meaty journal. So I got to start the night fresh on, I think, the last stream, which is I went in and I didn't kid myself. I'm like, a brute Tigrex and a Tigrex, they're too easy to make me drop my egg. All they got to do is roar and I'm screwed. So I went in, I'm like, I'm going to kill the Tigrex, and I think I'm going to try to manage like the eggs with maybe just a brute Tigrex. So that's what I did. I went in, killed Tigrex. It was hard. It took me like a half hour to kill the Tigrex, and people are like, oh my God, you're going to run out of time. What are you doing? And so I did the first egg, no problem. Then they close the path and they make you go through the desert, which is a much longer way to get the egg, of course. And I had one dash juice. I was saving it for the second run. On my way there, saw the brute Tigrex, paintballed them so I could watch them on my map. And everything lined up perfectly. Like, I got the egg, I got my juice, grabbed the egg. As I was making my way through the desert, brute Tigrex flew to the other zone, like perfect. I was barely obstructed, barely bothered. It is wild how much more tame the egg quests are in this game compared to Monster Hunter 1, where they're going to throw every freaking bug and little monster at you possible. And so I delivered the quest, and it was so nice, so easy, much easier when you go in with a plan. And from there, we unlocked Crimson Fatalis. But before I get into that, so many things. I also unlocked, before I was looking at the map, and I saw that there was a rare expedition going on in the high rank area. And people were like, you need to go there. That's your exclusive, expedition monster. So Ruby Basarios was available to me, and I didn't realize the only way you can fight him is through the expedition. So I went in there, and I gotta say, I loved Ruby Basarios. He was way better than Basarios. Maybe it's because I had a better weapon that wasn't bouncing. He's not very mobile, so after, fighting all of these, more mobile monsters like Brachydios, Devil Joe, Teostra, to get a freaking rock that just stays there and can take some punishment was a nice palate cleanser. So I just wailed on this rock, stepped aside when he had a little gas, and called it a day. I slayed him pretty quick. It was so nice, and his design's better, and I only have good things to say about Ruby Basarios. One of my favorite fights so far. Only because it was a relaxing fight, not because it's necessarily a fantastic fight. All right, so now that Crimson Fatalis is unlocked, I go in, and I don't know what to expect. My only Fatalis experience is in Iceborne. And so we're back in the Acantor arena, which I'm like, oh, we're back here. And he looks a little small at first. I'm like, is this a baby Fatalis? Because they did mention that one of the eggs hatched. And so I understood that this is maybe a baby version of Crimson Fatalis. I was just shocked at how long he was. All I'm seeing is pretty much his crotch. I'm like, okay, I can't pan the camera up, so all I'm going to be doing is bashing on Crimson Fatalis' crotch the whole fight. I'm like, all right, let's go. Then I realized, wait, this is the death trap, because then he breathes fire on you. But if you go behind, then he whips you with the tail. Overall, compared to Iceborne Fatalis, he's a lot more static, thank goodness. And I went in not fully prepared either. I went in just to test and see what the fight was. I was not expecting to win on my first try. I only had one max potion because I'm out of items to craft them. So I'm farming them. I'm trying to get some max potions. So I had limited amount of healing. I wasn't fully topped up. And it got to the point where I was 2 carts in. And luckily, one of my carts brought me back to the box when I was able to refill on supplies. Otherwise, I was really counting on Classy and Calico to heal me and they were dropping herbs, and I was like grabbing everything. Like, I'm like, herb? Yeah, give me that. I'll eat it. And I'm just trying to stay alive and trying to get better at dodging Fatalis and trying to unleash as much damage as I can on him. I mounted him early in the fight, ran out of stamina, so I fell off of him. And now we're getting where I can't heal. I used all my items. I'm down to 5 minutes left in the fight, and I'm just not seeing an end to this. Like, I'm not breaking anything on him. And in that last 5 minutes, I got another mount. I managed to win it. I managed to win the mount. I think I broke one of his horns, someone was saying. And with 3 minutes left, he was slain. So this is my first Monster Hunter 4U Fatalis slain. I also know he is the easiest out of, I think there are 4 of them, which I did not know, by the way, when I pledged. I didn't think that there was that many. I knew that there were multiple, but not 4. So we have 3 left. I think they're all in G rank at this point, which is kind of my next destination. So now with the high rank village story done, the side quests almost done, I'm moving over into Hub so that I can grind that out. I've cleared a bunch of Elder Dragons with the multiplayer, and we've actually unlocked the urgency for high rank 8, which is a Dalamdur. I've only heard this one in passing, so like I don't have much expectations for Dalamdur other than I think he's just big. And if I'm remembering right, I think people mentioned this in Monster Hunter World. I think the Rotten Veil or something is based on a Dalamdur's corpse, if I'm remembering correctly. But like at this point, I am attaching really old memories to really new information, so I don't know. So that's where we are. Thanks so much for like listening to all of that. That was just so much information, so much. Like usually I'm streaming once a week, and I usually do a journal. This was 3 streams back to back, and I just didn't have the time to do a journal in between. So we got this big chunky meaty journal, and I'm actually losing my voice from talking so much. So thank you all for joining. What we got next is a big snake, I guess, and the G rank grind begins. It's going to be a whole new chapter of pain, and I'm going to be here to share it with all of you. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next video, the next journal, or the next stream. And until next time, keep it classy.